yeah, I have a relationship with God. Like I know this is what I supposed to do, but it wasn't until I got grown and I was experiencing life. And when I reflect now, it's like I wouldn't have got through a lot of stuff if it wasn't for God. Because a lot of things that happened to me in my life, it was only God. You know, the trials and tribulations of life had like just built my faith. I already had it, but it made our relationship much stronger.
Okay, say either way that life sway. Let's make the right play. Tap in with Coach K, life coach with the right approach. Yeah, she gon' put some Jesus on it. Coach K, heavy on a woman of God. Life coach with the right approach. Yeah, she gon' put some Jesus on it. It's that level 27. Hey, don't stress, be blessed. 3 things to digest. Stay focused, trust God, and respect the process.
In a world that tries to force you to choose one path, my guest of honor has chosen to lean into all of the gifts God has given him. When it comes to mastering the sound waves and uncovering deep waves, my guest of honor has the golden touch. He serves as a barber and a music producer, so his hands have been blessed to produce amazing music and fresh cuts. It can be challenging to balance both, but he does his part to provide good music and crispy hairlines one day at a time. Today, my guest of honor is Tim Dedmon. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I'm glad to have you on the show because I think that what you can provide or what you share would really be helpful for people that are coming behind us. So I definitely want to ask you or start off by asking you to give us a little bit about your background and where you're from.
Okay. Yeah, I'm basically from Fort Worth, Texas. I cut hair and I also make beats. I started at the beginning of the pandemic when we couldn't get haircuts, so I started practicing on myself and messing up my cousin. And then over time, then I ended up getting my cosmetology license. And then I've been licensed for 2 years. And then, as far as producing, I've been making beats for 10 years. I mainly grew up on the east side of Fort Worth, but my dad's side of the family mostly from like the south side, and then my mama's side of the family from Como.
Okay. Yeah, you from the
Hmm.
same areas that we from then. Como, South Side, and Top Six.
I'm gonna say most black people from Fort Worth, they elder family is either from the south side of Como, and then the younger generation be from the east side mostly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I heard you say earlier that you've been licensed for 2 years. And so can you tell us a little bit about the process that it took for you to get your license?
So basically, I had to go to cosmetology school and I had to get a certain amount of hours from the state in order for me to take the test. It wasn't a bad process. It seemed like it was at the time because I would work currently I work a job still. So working a job and then going to school after hours and doing that for like 2 hours. Then also with cosmetology, me being a male, not knowing anything about women hair, that was hard to kind of understand. But I actually enjoyed it. It took me about a year to finish, and then it taught me things about hair that I didn't know, especially about like certain shampoos to use on different people, texture of hair, the different textures of hair, because I thought everybody's hair was basically the same. And just learning how to
Mhm.
use scissors, and I kind of felt like when I first started that I didn't start off at barber school that it was like a problem. I was like, that's gonna kind of hold me back. But I felt like it actually enhanced me more doing that than just starting out at barber school. Cause like I said, learning about them different textures of hair and then practicing on how to use scissors instead of clippers. So with the
Mhm.
clippers, I kind of learned how to do that on my own, mainly practice on my head, and then, like I said, messing up cousin's head for a minute, and then just keep putting them hours in on it. And then eventually at the school, they started giving me a lot of male clients to practice on. So that kind of helped out a lot too. But far as once I got my hours and the test was easy to me. I can't say the same for everybody else. Everybody else might feel different, but for me, I took both of like, cause you got to take the written test and the practical. So I took both of them the first time and passed.
That's because it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Yeah, cause even with the written, I felt like I thought the written was gonna be the hardest one, but I took it so fast that when I text my girlfriend. She was like, "You done already?" And I was like, "Yeah."
You didn't second guess yourself though. That's I feel like a lot of times when people take tests, they get caught up because they're second guessing themselves. You just went with what you felt and you
Mhm.
like, okay, I know this stuff. You put in the work. So you like, I know this stuff.
I'm already laid back, so I always think about when I'm taking a test, I just leave my first answer because I feel like when you do your first answer, it's already on the tip of your brain. So you just gotta put
Mhm.
that on there instead of when you second guess, you kind of make up an answer.
That's true. That's true. Going to cosmetology school, do you feel like that prepared you to deal with both men and women? Because your clients could be either or. So do you think that that prepared
Mhm.
you pretty well for managing different types of clients?
Oh yeah, 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 it did. Especially because most of my clients, typically, well, it started out now it's kind of mixed, but typically it was like single mothers bringing they son. So it
Mhm.
kind of to me, I feel like it's much easier to deal with women than men's, like, cause women they be like on time with everything. They be like more updating versus men's. They like we like spur at the moment. Like I might like women, they'll tell you, "Oh, I'm coming in the next 2 weeks," or they hit you up a week prior to let you know, okay, that spot is right there. I'm doing it that time. Versus a man, they hit you up the day of or the day before. Women are easier. They're more grateful than the men because they be just like happy, like, hey, I got a barber. Especially like when I was in cosmetology school and listened to women dealing with men's barber and a lot of women used to tell me how a lot of women didn't like going into barbershops because a lot of men's make them feel uncomfortable with just, flirting with them and stuff like that. So a lot of them be just grateful, like you professional, you do your job. I can hit you up whenever. Versus a man, they be like, I'm just, I'm just getting a haircut, bro.
Yeah. I can understand that for sure, especially when it comes to just trying to make sure you just get what you need to get done, and you're just trying to make sure you stay on
Mhm.
track and get what you need to get done. You don't need the extras. I'm glad that you
Mhm.
were able to see both sides, so you could create how you wanted to approach your clients. Do you have a general philosophy or like a standard for how you do approach your clients?
Um, I just be me because I feel like I said, I have a laid back attitude. So it's like most people be comfortable with talking with me anyway. So I just be me. So I just be real respectable. I ask everybody how they doing and stuff like that. They typically go into that. If I most of the time when I've been cutting you for a minute, I kind of already know your process of life about how you work and how you maneuver anyways. So I usually just kind of feed into what I already know about you, and that just a spark a conversation anyways. And then as far as like if I'm cutting like teenagers' hair, I just kind of already know how to talk to them about like school and what they got going on.
Yeah. I find it very interesting, like, when it comes to beauticians and barbers, how close you get to your clients too, because they're sitting in your chair, you're dealing with their head. Like, I think it's a major responsibility whenever it comes to like those types of positions, because everybody can't do what you do. You know, I feel like
Mhm.
it's literally like you've been called to do it, and there's a reason why they're sitting in your chair, especially with your personality being so laid back. Sometimes people might need that, like, bring them down a little bit, like from from their day or what they're dealing with. So I love what you're doing and like that you take it serious because most
Mhm.
people they'll see their gift and they won't move on it. They'll just let it sit there. So I'm
Yeah,
glad that you're
yeah.
acting on yours.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
You talked a lot about, loving being a barber, but you also talked about music too.
Mhm.
Do those two things kind of cross paths whenever you are working as a barber?
Sometimes I might play my beats while I'm cutting and just to just have because I have music playing in the background while I'm cutting anyway, so I like play
Mhm.
music in between. Uh, it don't really kind of cross paths. It's kind of a separate thing. Like you got people
Mhm.
who might know that I make beats, but not know that I cut her. And then you got people who know I cut her, but don't know I make beats. So it'd be like separate. And sometimes when I'm playing the beats, like I remember I was playing one of my beats and I was cutting my little cousin her. He like in the 8th grade, and he was listening. He was like, "What song is this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's my beat." So
Like,
it would just be separate.
you don't know nothing about this, young man. You don't know nothing about this. That's what I would have told him.
Nah, for real, cause most of my beats I be sampling be like R&B songs, and he thinking this is like an actual R&B song. He was like, "Oh, you listen to it?" Cause he was like, "You playing a lot of love songs," and I was like, "No, them my beats."
That's probably something he needs to hear. With all the other stuff that
Mhm.
they can hear these days that they have access to, you
Yeah,
might need
all
to
that
switch it
riff
up a little
raff.
bit sometime.
Mhm,
All that rip rap, is that what you said?
all that riff raff. That's all they listen to.
That's all they listen to. You need to listen to you some R&B or some old school or something. You need something
Mhm.
different. When it comes to like your tools that you use for cutting hair and everything, do you have any favorites, or what was the trial and error process for that, discovering what you wanted to use?
I don't know. I think it was meant to be when I think about it, because my family, for every Christmas when I was like in my early 20s, they was like buying me clippers for Christmas. So,
Mhm.
it was like little Ross and Marshall clippers. And I never used them. I would just be like, I don't know what to do with this. And my auntie used to be like, because I used to complain about a lot of barbers cutting my hair. So they'd be like, why you complaining? You might as well just go out and cut your own hair. And I'd be like, nah. And then plus I have I have a uncle that cut hair, and I have an older cousin. So I used to be around them all day while they cut hair. So I used to just watch them. So um, one day I was just like, all right, when the pandemic happened, I'm gonna cut my hair. So I had like some clippers because I used to edge myself up on my alternate weeks when I get a haircut. And it was like I said, some little Marshall clippers, and I had some little Marshall clippers and some little Marshall edges, and I started with that. And then I went to my uncle and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go on and start cutting hair. What you think about these clippers?" And he was like, "Them are not real clippers." he,
Oh, no.
he was like, "Them are not," and it made sense because it was so hard to cut my hair, and I was like, "I don't know why it's so hard." And I look at them, so he ended up giving me some edges and some clippers, but the clippers he gave me didn't have all the guards to it. So when I was practicing on myself, my fades wasn't really a real fade. So I was like, I used to wonder like, okay, what's going on? So then I started school and they gave me some clippers and they clippers wasn't good either, but I was able to fade a little better. It was like a more of a process. Like, okay, the clippers he gave me, I could cut my hair down, and the school clippers I try to learn how to fade. So it used to take me like 2 or 3 hours to cut my hair. It used to take me a long time. And then my mama and my granddaddy for Christmas, they came together and just like bought me some new clippers and edges, which is Bayless, which is what I use now. And ever since then, I started noticing, oh, I could cut faster. Oh, my face look better now. So ever since I just been hooked with Bayless. Honestly, that's the only clippers I really use. And then I have some Andis edgers that I like a lot because the Bayless can be a little too sharp for kids, and the Andis is enough, like it's sharp enough to for I can edge up a kid and it look crispy, but not cut their forehead.
Yeah, yeah. We don't want that.
I know. I know when I first started with, like I said, when they bought me them Bayless with like a lot of trimmers, if you want them sharp, you can adjust them to make them sharp. So, like I said, I had adjusted them to make them sharp, and it was good on me. And then also, I use a technique where I like basically put the alcohol on their forehead to kind of clean their forehead, and then I put like the holding spray to make it like kind of more crisp. So it makes all this so dry that when I'm cutting it, it could cut your forehead. So
Mhm.
I noticed with kids, it was like their head is their forehead is more sensitive than a adult male. So they had like little scratches when I be done, and I was like, oh, that ain't good. And then
Mhm.
I had one parent who complained about it. She was like, "Yeah, you cut his forehead and stuff like that." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to buy some new clippers, and I'm gonna have to not do that technique on y'all because y'all skin is already dry and sensitive, anyways. That I don't need to do anymore, but just use some good edges."
Trial and error is something, but I'm glad that you've gotten to go through that process so you can make adjustments because you definitely
Hmm.
don't want them kind of problems when you're talking about dealing with the mamas because that's a whole
Yeah,
nother level right there.
yeah. The moms don't
That's so
play.
funny. They do not. They do not. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about cutting hair and your least favorite thing about cutting hair?
uh, I think just my favorite thing about cutting hair is like it's like kind of drawing and painting. Like I get to a point where I have like it usually be teenage boys where they come in and they haven't had a haircut in a long time. They don't comb their hair, but they want this type of haircut. And then while I'm doing it, at the moment I be like, I gotta trust the process. And once it come, it be like, oh, that before and that after. That's what I like. The part that I don't like about
Mhm.
cutting hair, that's kind of hard because I like almost everything about cutting hair. I guess the only thing I would say is the price of buying the equipment. It's the only thing,
That
because
quality.
yeah, because doing anything, buying the clipper, if you're gonna get the best clippers, you're gonna have to pay. And then if you wanna learn more, you're gonna have to pay. So it just like the amount of money you have to spend in order to do what you need to do and to make your business better each time.
Yeah. But it's investing in you though, too. So
Mhm,
at the end of the day, it's like you swiping that card, but it's like, "Ah, okay, I'm investing in myself. Let me go on and just go and swipe the card real quick." But
mhm.
I can understand that it costs to play. It
Yeah, it
costs.
does.
So would you say that's the same sentiment when it comes to music? Because it can be a lot to buy that equipment as well. What's some of your favorite things about that process?
Um, I love music, so I like to be I had to be in the mood. Now I have to be more in the mood. I used to do it like every day, like all day, every day. And then now, I'm
Mhm.
old, I got responsibilities. I can't do it every day, all day. So I just like the vibe of making the music, just vibing to the music. And like I said, because I sample, so it's like the same thing with cutting hair where you taking something and making it to something new. So I like that about it. The thing I don't like about the making beats is like dealing with the artist and then the business perspective of it. Cause like I said, I can make like a lot of beats. So like I can make 100 beats and I can send these to all these different artists. But out of that 100 beats, out of the whole year, maybe only like 5 or 10 of them will be used.
Mhm.
And then out of that 5 or 10, maybe only 1 or 2 of them I might get paid for. So that'd be the thing.
It means that you have to love what you're doing because it is a thankless job at times.
Yeah, it is. It's like one of them things you gotta want to do for free. Like you really have to want to do that for free because most people they like I feel like when you get to a certain level, then yeah, you can charge for beats. But when you starting out, like you giving beats for free just so people can hear your music. And then when you finally do get to a situation where you get an artist who can pay for a beat and that contracts get involved and stuff like that, you're gonna have to lowball yourself.
Why do you say that?
Cause just think if you got an established artist already who's like with a label and stuff like that, and they taking a chance on you, they don't know you or
Mhm.
nothing like that, but they getting beats from bigger producers and they getting features from bigger artists and they gotta pay them too. And they taking a chance with you and like for instance, okay, I send them a beat. They don't know me, we never talk. They people reach out to me and they be like, okay, we thinking about putting you on this album. Who all on the beats? Who all made the beat? That's the number one, because a lot of people make beats with multiple people. I make beats by myself. I don't make it. I just sample. So then that's when they got to be like, okay, who you sample, and then I had to let them know, and then they have to go get that clear from that person. So my biggest thing is I'm big on the exposure more than the money, because the money gonna come,
Yeah,
but you got to get it, just getting your foot through there, because all it takes is one big song.
that's true. That's true. Who
Hmm.
are some of the artists that you have worked with?
Um, I done work with Anne Marie. I did something with Tory Lanez a long time ago, but it never came out. Trey Ward, Asia Kyrie, they're both artists, up and coming artists in Dallas. Yeah, just mainly them. If I think about it, them be my consistent people that I done did stuff with. Other people, it'd be like, we got your beats and stuff like that. Like, it was a one lady named Nina. She was like under the same management as Bryson Tiller. She used to contact me every now and then it was another artist named Alan, and she was like kind of touring with Dom Kennedy that I used to send it to, because of what I usually do is just try to send it to reach more reachable artists that are still connected with bigger artists. Because even with Tory Lanez, I wasn't sending it directly to him. I was sending it to like his brother, who used to be with him every day. His brother make music too, but he be with Tory Lanez every day. Well, he used to be with him at the time, but uh, and he would like give him my beats, because it started out like I send him the beats, and he'd contact me. He'd be like, "Oh, I like this beat," and he started giving me game low key like every blue moon. But he'll be like, "Don't send me all your beats, just send me your best beats, because I got people listening to it, and you don't want them to hear a beat that's not good just because you sent the beat." Tory Lane's engineer had asked me for my beat files, and they had recorded to it, but like I said, nothing came out of it. It just was the fact that it actually got to him at that time.
Yeah. Exposure is important, though, and I feel like that's just a part of doing your 10,000 hours. Like you
Mhm.
said, you've been producing and doing this for 10 years, so I think that there is a process to everything, and a lot of people feel like in this little microwavable world that we live in, that everything should be clicking fast, and that's when you don't have the
Mhm.
power to sustain after you get it that quickly. I'm glad that you understand you gotta take the steps. Keep doing it even if it's not producing something that you thought it would produce, but it's still laying the groundwork for what's
Mhm.
to come too. Those relationships are
Yeah.
important.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tell me about your creative process. Do you grab inspiration from anywhere? Or I heard you say you have to be in the mood. So is it something that just like sparks your inspiration, or do you have a certain process that you go through?
It's just different things. Sometimes I might go through the day and I hear a song that I want to sample, and I save the song in my phone. That could be something like I have like a list of samples that through the week I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna use that, I'm gonna use that, I'm gonna use that. And then I finally just, okay, now I'm ready to make a beat. One thing I do that inspired me is I had this one beat that I made like 10 years ago that I still have. And it was like my first ever beat that I was like, okay, I want to actually do this. I go back and listen to that beat just to feel how I felt when I first started, because I felt like when I first started, I had more drive. So I get that feeling from my old self to go start making beats.
Yeah.
I like making beats at nighttime. So I wait until like around nighttime. I like kind of like set a mood to where it's not too bright in the house or anything. Sit in one area. I might like drink me some wine or something, and then I just listen to a lot of old songs that basically where I'm trying to get that feeling of what type of beat I want to make, which usually I be listening to a lot of R&B.
Would you say that being in this type of space is like your creative outlet to help you balance dealing with your regular job, being a barber, and all your life stuff in general? Is it therapeutic for you?
Yeah, yeah. a lot of people be like, can you make this type of beat? And I can, but I'd be like, I mainly make my beats based off of my emotions and how I'm feeling at that time. Cause like I have certain
Mhm.
beats where it might sound sad, or I have certain beats that just sound like real chill. Like my beats sound like me. Like when you listen to them, you
Mhm.
just know it sound like me. It's real chill. It's real laid back. So I can't make the rah rah stuff because I'm not a rah rah person. So it's just me
Yeah.
putting my emotions in it. When I first started making beats, I was like fresh from dropping out of college and I didn't have nothing to do. So and I was kind of going through a little depression. So I used to do that to kind of get out of that depression.
I'm glad you found something to do though, because there's a million other things you could have been doing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that being at the house, that's good. You was at the house or wherever you was at, you wasn't
Mhm.
outside. So that's the best thing, especially when you decide to transition, making that decision to leave and not finish college at that time.
Mhm.
What sparked that for you? What was it that pushed you to do that? Because that's a big leap, you know, because society wants you to college is the way, right? So what sparked that for you?
Uh, with college, I wasn't really mentally. I was young. I wasn't really ready because went to SFA with Stephen F. Austin. I went to a university instead of just doing the process of going to either a smaller college or HBC, and and it just I don't know. I wasn't really mentally prepared to be in college. I wasn't disciplined enough or anything like that. I just went just to go. And then with the music,
Mhm.
I used to like when I was in college, like I used to be, you have a little sections with friends where y'all like having little kickbacks and stuff, and I used to be the one who make the music. And also I used to have virtual DJ on my laptop, so I used to kind of DJ and mix stuff. So when I dropped out of college, it was like a random thing. I just was like coming back from Christmas break, and I just on my way back, I told my mom I was like, I'm not going back to school. Like she didn't even know. She was just like, I'm not going back to school. So,
Yeah.
and
Hey,
that's what
that
happened. And
you have to
then,
make the decision best for you.
hmm yeah, your family, they be like, what? You could do this. You at least you could go to a community college. And then, even then, I went to a community college and I dropped out maybe the second week because, I already knew I wasn't disciplined enough. I was kind of a little depressed too. So I wasn't even really focused. And I had a lot of personal stuff going on for his family and stuff that was happening at that time. And I just was like, yeah, mentally, I just can't do it.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot to make that decision, especially knowing that you're gonna feel the backlash of that from family and whoever else is around. So I think that choosing to make that pivot or shift was courageous and it needed to happen so that you could be able to grow and even get better mentally to have the time to even get through that process of whatever you were building or dealing with at the time. When it comes to managing getting out of depression and dealing with your mentality, what are the key things that you did besides working on beats and everything that helps you to come out of that?
Really, God. That's all I can really say. God and family. Um, I remember when I was at a real depressed moment. My granny, she had got knee surgery on both of her knees, so she couldn't really do nothing. So I had to stay with her for like some weeks, probably about a month. Yeah, I stayed with her for about a month just to help her out and stuff. And like every day, me and her like walk around the corner and just talk. Cause like I said, I was fresh out of college. I think at that time I had just started working at Ross. So I didn't really have, and like at Ross, you don't work that many hours. So I didn't have nothing to do. So me and her walk around the corner and we'd just be talking and she'd be like, you just got to put God first and stuff. And then she ended up giving me a cross, which I still got to this day. that I keep in my wallet that she basically just used to say pray and stuff like that. And then it's also more than just praying. It's like you have to also have that confidence and believe that in yourself and believe that everything is gonna work out at the end of the day. And that's what I felt to
Mhm.
realize when I was younger that I felt like I had to be on go and I had to make something happen instead of being confident that I can do it and also that God is gonna make a way at the end of the day. So God was like the number one thing. I just had to literally put my trust in Him.
Absolutely. Granny told you absolutely correct. She did. I love that you got that time to be with her too, because I think that a lot of times we don't value the older generation and like how much wisdom that they carry just in like they pinky. So having that time to like be around her
Mhm.
uninterrupted for like a month or however long you were there, that I'm sure that shapes you a lot, just even in growing up and maturing too.
Yeah, cause like me and my immediate family, we're real close, and like with me being like the oldest grandson, and when it comes to my mama immediate family, it's like I didn't seen everything with them, so I have a different bond with them than the like my cousins and my little sister, the younger generation. So it's like I had it's one of them things where they really did like kind of mold me into who I am. And still at this point, like, you know, we can all come together and give each other encouraging words, kind of lift each other up. You know, family gonna be family. You get into it, you don't get into it, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we always still be there for each other no matter what.
Absolutely. Yeah. How would you say your relationship with God has impacted just your overall journey? Like, what would you say that relationship has done for you?
I was listening to an interview and I think what's her name is Ivana, the lady who the fix your life lady. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
her. So I was like listening to an interview last night with her where she was like, you know, you raised up in church, you know, you go to church, but you don't have no actual relationship with God. You just in church because you know that's what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And she was talking about that. So I was like thinking about that because I got baptized at 16. And when I got baptized at 16, that was my choice. And at that time, I was like, yeah, I have a relationship with God. Like, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. But it wasn't until I got grown and I was experiencing life. And when I reflect now, it's like I wouldn't have got through a lot of stuff if it wasn't for God. Because a lot of things that happened to me in my life, it was only God. You know, the trials and tribulations of life had like just built my faith. I already had it, but it made our relationship much stronger.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost like you don't know you learned your parents and your grandparents' God, but until you start going through life stuff, that's when you start actually learning God for yourself and he becomes your father. For real. Because
Mhm,
you have something physical to attach him to.
mhm,
Because you can point out like, I know he helped me get through this. I know for a fact. Versus hearing the story, you know?
mhm.
Yeah.
Nah, for sure.
For real. Like, um, do you feel like you define purpose as a journey or a destination?
I feel like everything plays a role because at the end of the day, I feel like when you get to the destination, you gonna think about the journey and what all that happened, what was the purpose of everything. Because at the
Mhm.
destination, it's just a stopping point. So it's like you ain't moving towards nothing. You just like, okay, I'm here. But then I don't feel like it's a such thing as a like you don't have a destination until like, you know, you to the end. But I feel like even if you get to a point, you still moving towards something and it's still a purpose towards you moving. So like even like now, I always me and my closest homeboy, we'll talk about like cause we've been friends since the 7th grade. and we didn't seen each of us like how we progressed in life, and we be like we not where we want to be right now, but 19-year-old me, this is where I wanted to be. This was my destination for the 19-year-old me. So,
Mhm.
and it was like even now, like I said, I'm not where I want to be as the age that I am now, but I look at the purpose of like, oh, everything I went through when I was praying for this at 19, which make me grateful.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a journey, and like I love the fact that you have people that watched you grow too, that y'all work together and walk together. I love it when men have friends. It makes me so happy. I'm like, I'm glad you have a friend for real, because it seems like men don't have as big of a community as women when it comes to that. Even though
Mhm.
sometimes some of the women in the community might need to go. Um, they have somebody that they can like really pour out their feelings to and like get it out of them easily. So it makes me happy to hear that you have somebody that's been there throughout the journey that can help push you too. Um,
Yeah.
so do you have more than one, or do you have like a community of friends that you stick with?
Yeah, I have like, okay, this is the group, but you have subdivisions of friends of like, this is how close I am with each friend. So like, I have friends, okay, these been my friends since high school, and then I had these friends, these been my friends since I was in college. And
Mhm.
so like out of each both of them groups, it's only one friend out of each of them that I talk deep about my personal stuff about. Like my friend from the 7th grade that we've been through a lot together. We talk a lot about deep stuff and God and everything else like that. Then my friend from college, one of my friends from college, me and him are called like we won't talk we don't talk every day. We might talk like maybe every couple of months, but we'll talk for hours about what's going on in his life, what's going on in my life, where we was at that time in college, and where we at now. So if I'm talking about like on that perspective, I only have two friends that I talk to on that perspective, but I still have my group of friends that when they come around, we talk about stuff, but I won't know nothing deep about them unless it's just a conversation that just spark up at that time. Versus the other two homeboys I have, they know, oh, this what's been going on because I talked to them about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy to hear that you have a village, and like having friends that you've been friends with for double digit years is a blessing. A lot of people don't have that, or they can't say that they have that. It's really like an anomaly, to be honest. It's sad,
Mhm.
but it's true. Like to have a friend that you've been friends with that long,
Mhm.
that's a blessing for sure. That mean like God definitely sent them.
Yeah.
God definitely sent for y'all to have that connection. I have my best friend. We've been friends 24 years.
Mhm.
24 years. Say we getting old. Ooh, we getting old. But like I'm grateful for having that person, because that's one person you don't have to explain anything to. They already know the background. You just gotta get it off,
Mhm.
get it out, and then they'll help navigate you too. So keep nurturing those relationships, please, because I'm happy to hear a man has that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
um,
definitely needed.
yeah, it's definitely needed. When it comes to just like the way that you manage your relationships, who would you say has modeled that for you?
My mama.
Your mom.
Cause me and my mama, we real close. That's like my friend. Like that's like by everything. So my mama molded me into everything that I am as a man, and everything and how I deal with everything. It was really my mama. My mama yeah, that's my dog. Cause me and my mama had kind of similar laid backness, and she had friends that like she didn't dealt with since she was young, like since she was a kid, that I call my aunties, call my godmother. Like I didn't see my mama with one of her friends, which is my auntie, which is my daddy's sister. They was best friends. My mama is a CNA. My auntie had got cancer, and my mama took care of her while she was in hospital all the way until where she was able to talk and dance. to where she was in a baby state to where she couldn't move. And to see my mama do that, that was like the realest thing I ever seen in my life. Cause it's like you dealt with that and I didn't see her cry. I didn't see her get sad. She didn't be like, oh, I'm not gonna do that today. Cause she still got a job of her own to do. And you come back and do this job for free for your friend. That's real. And then I didn't see my
Mm-hmm.
mama like throughout my years. My mama always, my mama never like ever since I was a kid, my mama like maybe once when she was younger had an apartment, but my mama always like had houses. She always rented houses and stuff like that. So she always, when her friends was like having a hard time, because like when I think about it, they was young, they was in their 20s and early 30s. So they was figuring out life too. One of our homegirls always stayed with us. And my mama, she wasn't like mean or be like, oh, you can't stay or you only got a certain time. Like my mama used to let them stay, and one of my aunties used to stay with us for years. So, when it comes to dealing with people and handling people, that's who I learned it from.
Shout out to mama. That's amazing for real. For
hmm
real. That shows me where your character comes from too. Like, definitely when I first met you, I told Lavender, I said, "Don't mess this up." I told her straight up. I said, "Don't mess this up." She was like, "Shut up," because it's very clear that you come from either like a family that has taught you the importance of handling people well and like
hmm
being a servant leader and like just also being sure of yourself and not feeling like you have to act or pose. You were very
hmm
much so that when I saw you, it could be a lot walking into our family. I know it could be a lot,
It really
but
don't be that much. It'd be cool to me.
see, but it's cool. It was easier for you because you are true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
it's very clear that you're sure of yourself and that you understand who you are. And I'm glad to hear that comes from seeing your mother do what she does too. So that makes
hmm
perfect sense now.
Yeah.
um, well, it sounds like you've had a lot of like highs and lows and like things have, shifted for you in different ways and you have a lot ways that you want to go, but you are content with where you are right now. So
hmm
tell me, if you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
Nah. Nah, I wouldn't, because what I learned about myself is I remember I used to always say this. I'd be like, everything I do, I always had to progress to do it. It wasn't like I was born with this talent or born with this. I had to like literally it progress to. And when I was young, I used to be like, I wish I was born to a rich family. I wish I had this type of skills right off the back. Like, I wish I had like this person who can just guide me all the way through. But then I just look at it as like I tell my mama this all the time, because me and my dad, we didn't have the best relationship and stuff like that. So I had a father figure when I was like young, which was my granddaddy. And when he got older, it was like I was a teenager and stuff. So I had to learn how to be a man all through my teenage years, from when I was 16 all the way until I was like in my 20s. I had to figure it out on my own about how to be a man. So um, I look at it as like everything I went through, I became the man that I wanted to be, like that I wanted to be, and then that I wanted out of like a father figure. That's how I look at everything. So like I wouldn't change nothing, because I felt like it was needed to go through all that, because I went through so much stuff with different things that made me have a perspective of different ways of handling things and keeping my composure. Because I look at people who didn't go through nothing, when the slightest thing happened, they have a panic attacks, which ain't nothing wrong with it, but you know, you have people who become suicidal and stuff like that. And I can understand certain people, it'd be hard for them. But I know for me, with me dealing with what I dealt with, so when I deal with something, I don't get depressed or I just gone and just handle it head on and, put my faith in God at that point because I wouldn't have had learned that if I just didn't deal with what I dealt with.
Makes perfect sense to me. It really does.
Mhm.
Like, there's no point in doing all the other stuff. There's no point.
Yeah. That's why I say, like, one thing that made me think of that was when I was in college, and most of the people I went to university with had money. They didn't come from, like, the hood. They didn't know, like, Section 8 and all that stuff. They didn't know nothing about all that. So I noticed when I went to college, I was able to, like, kinda survive easier than them, like, far as, like, handling real world situations. Because I remember it was one situation with these group of girls I knew, and they was like, their parents had money, and they was kinda green to a lot of stuff. I remember it was one situation where, they had, like, all the newest clothes, like, all the newest technology at that time. This is when Beats was popping. Their laptop was a Mac. I graduated in 2011, so a lot of people didn't have all this stuff back then. So, they didn't understand. We used to, like, go to their dorm, and they'll leave their dorm door unlocked with all this stuff just sitting on their bed. But you not understanding because you wasn't raised in it that somebody could just easily walk in here and steal all this stuff. And we used to tell them, we were like, we came to your dorm early, y'all dorms was unlocked. Y'all need to start locking y'all dorms for somebody to come in there and walk in there and steal all y'all stuff and stuff like situations like that. And then even with like certain students, they'd deal with like certain situations of school and it'll make them so depressed that they'd get suicidal. So, but like I said, they never dealt with anything but what their parents molded them, like kept them in a circle of dealing with. So when they ain't got their parents' hand on them, they kind of freak out and they don't know. Like real life is just like a shock to them. Versus to me, it was just like this is life.
I agree. At the end of the day, hoping and wishing that you have something different is only like discounting what God has already given you. And so it's gonna be harder for you to even get to the next if you can't focus on what you presently have. So at the end of the day, just be content and grateful. Everything else will find its way to you.
Yeah, well.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for coming on here. I appreciate you. I'm very proud of you, and I'm excited to see what else God does in your life for real. It's gonna be great. So I'm excited to see where else He
Appreciate
takes
it.
you.
I really appreciate that. This was actually cool. I didn't know what to expect. I was a little nervous at first, and then I was like, "I'm just be me."
Life coach with the right approach, yeah. She gon' put some Jesus on it. It's that level 27. Hey, don't stress, be blessed. 3 things to digest. Stay focused, trust God, and respect the process.